Record. Yeah. So what we are discussing today, we are discussing about the Docker volumes. So what is a Docker volume? Docker volumes are used to persist the data which is generated by the Docker container. So what is persistence? Persistence is nothing but to store permanently. Persistence is nothing but to store permanently. Volumes are used to persist the data which is generated by the Docker container. Volumes are used to avoid the data loss. Okay. If the container is crashes, the data will loss, right? If you use the volumes, so volumes are used to avoid the data loss. Using volumes, we can make containers as a stateful. Satish, yeah, Satish joined.
Good morning, bro.
Morning. Yeah. So today what we are discussing about the Docker volumes. Okay. What is Docker volume? Docker volumes are used to persist the data which is generated by the container. Persistence is nothing but you already know, right? Permanently.
Yeah.
So volumes are used to store permanently. The data store will permanently which is generated by the Docker container. Okay. So volumes are used to avoid the data loss. For example, Docker container. Docker container will crash or will something like a stop. So will crash, right? So if the data is writing it in the container, definitely it will loss. To avoid the data loss, we use the Docker volumes. So using Docker volumes, we can make containers as a stateful container. Using Docker volume, we can make container as a stateful container. So on deletion of a container, Docker volume will not be deleted. So if you created the Docker, so it will not delete the Docker volume. So we have a three types of volumes in Docker. So anonymous volume, so has no name. So the second one is named volume. The third one is bind mount. So what is anonymous volume? A volume that has no name. Docker automatically create it and assign a random name. You cannot easily reuse it. So named volume, right? For example. So for example, Docker run -d -v. V is nothing but a volume creation. App data. So I'm creating the app data nginx. Nginx is the image, right? A Docker run -d detached mode -v is nothing but a volume creation. App data nginx. It will automatically create the volume. So what is explanation? Something like explanation is -v app data. So what is this -v app data? -v app data. So app data is the path inside the container. What is this? Is the path inside the container. Inside the container. Okay. This is the path. So this is inside the container. Since no volume name is given. Right. So automatically Docker automatically creates an anonymous volume anonymous volume and mounts it to app data. Okay. Mounts it to app data. What this is ngin. This is the Docker image name. This is the Docker image name. So what is this -d run container in detached mode. So run detached mode. So something like how to see the anonymous anonymous volume. How to see anonymous volume? You can see anonymous volume by using Docker volume ls. Docker volume ls. This is the so anonymous volume, right? So named volume and bind mount volume, I will show you practically. So what is named volume? A volume that you create with a specific name. It is easy to manage and reuse across the containers. So what is a bind mount? Named volume and bind mount. You can link a specific folder, guys. So this is nothing but a you can create the volumes in the Docker container, and this is a bind mount. It will link a specific folder from your host machine, something like a your computer or something like a Docker server or Docker machine. Okay, you link a specific folder from your host system Docker machine to folder inside a container. Okay, you can create a folder in the EC2 instance, then mount it to a container. Any changes reflect in the both places, it will affect, guys. So it will affect. So how you can display the Docker volumes by using the Docker volume ls. Create a Docker volume, create volume name, inspect Docker volume, inspect volume name, remove Docker volume rm, volume name, remove all volumes, Docker system prune hyphen volume. Guys, understood? So we have a three types of volumes. So one is anonymous volume. The second one is named volume. So the third one is bind mount. Guys, these two are important. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see 7 restart root red hat su icon ec2 hyphen user docker system. Yeah. So systemctl, you need to check sudo systemctl status docker. Yeah, Docker is running. Okay. What is the command, guys? So the commands are to display the Docker volumes. How to display the Docker volumes? Docker volume ls. So there is no Docker volumes created. How you can create the Docker volume? Docker volume create volume name. So what is the volume? Vol name 1. We can create the volume 1 or volume 2. Okay. So volume 2 is created. Docker volume create volume 2. How you can check it? Docker volume ls. You can check the Docker volume ls. This is the local, and volume name is vol2. So vol2. How to inspect the Docker volume? Docker inspect Docker volume. Docker volume inspect volume name. What is the volume name? Vol2. Okay. So created today. So the driver is local and the labels are null. Mount point. Where it is mounted. The default mount is, guys, this is. What is the default mount? Default mount is it will create the var lib docker. It will create the var lib docker volumes. It will create the var lib docker volumes volume 2. Okay. Next, I want to delete the volume. How you can delete the volume? Docker rm, Docker volume, guys. Docker volume rm, volume name, vol 2, volume name 2. Guys, that's right. So Docker check, Docker volume ls. So Docker volume is deleted. So Docker volume is deleted. This understood? Yeah. So now,
Yeah.
so what is that? Named volume. So what is that? So named volume. So guys, how we can share the data from one container to another container? So for example, this is our EC2 instance. How you are? So this is the one container and this is the another container. Okay. These are the two containers are running. how we can share the data, how we can share the data from one container to another container. So one container to another container. Guys, how we can share the data from one container to another container. So for example, so this is nginx container is running. So what is the index.html? So right, in the Apache or something like this is the Apache, for example. Apache container. Apache container, what it contains? Index.html. Okay, this is the file, right? This is the file where, so this is the a deployment file. This is the host file or a website, right? This is the a website. So here also, so here also index.html. What is that, guys? Here also index.html. Okay, this index.html, how we can share this, how we can share this index.html to, so this another container. Is it possible? For example, you will remove this. Yeah, is also how we can share this index.html to the other containers. How you can share this index.html to the other Apache containers. Okay, is it possible? No, it is not possible. It is not possible normally. How you can, how it possible? It possible by using named volume. What is that? What is that, guys? Named
Named
volume.
volume. Yeah.
Yes. Now you understood?
Yeah, yeah.
Named volume. So in the named volume, how we can share the file? So here, yeah, something like this is the container and this is the container. So here you can create a Docker volume and share this to share this file in this container and in this container. Okay. So here, if the index.html is this container is crashes, so the data will be losses, right? Because of index.html is inside the container only. So if you use the named volume, what is that? If you use the named volume, the data will not lose. The data will not use because of this is the volume we created, and you shared this volume. For example, if this is crashes, if this is crashes, so the data will be available. For example, if it is this is also crashes, the data will be available in the data Docker volumes. Guys, understood? So this is nothing but a named volume. So what is that binder? So bind mount is nothing but a bind mount is nothing but so this is the what this is. So this is a, for example, AWS cloud. What this is? AWS cloud. AWS cloud. And so what is this? This is our EC2 instance. What this is? So this is the EC2 instance. Okay. This is the EC2 VM. Okay. So this is a EC2 VM. In this EC2 VM, okay, you are running a container. What this is? This is a container. This is a container. What this is? This is a container. This is a container. So in the container, what you can do? So you create a directory in the EC2 instance. Sorry, here you create a directory in the EC2 instance. Then you can attach this to the container. You can attach this. For example, this is the slash applogs uh, directory. This is the normal directory in the EC2 instance, and this is the container. So you can attach this directory to the container. If container crashes, the data will be available under the this folder. Guys, understood? Guys,
Yes, bro. Yeah.
yeah. So this is nothing but a which volume? This is a bind
Bind volume.
mount. Okay. So this is the bind mount. This is the named volume. This is the without volumes. Without volume. So without volumes, named volume and bind mount. Understood?
Yeah.
Very. Now something like I will create a Docker volume creation. How you can create the Docker volume?
So bind mode means centralized location mount point, right?
This is the EC2 instance, right? You
Okay.
create
Yeah.
a duplication here. Okay, this is the root red hat sudo su hyphen ec2 hyphen use. Okay, so mkdir slash applog. Okay, slash applog sudo mkdir slash applog. You created the directory. Okay, applogs directory. You can mount this directory to the container. That is nothing but a bind mount. Okay, Satish.
Yeah. Okay. But how it is available for second container? So
We
both
have a number of
same server?
containers, right?
Both are in the same server, right? That is where.
Both are in the same server.
Okay. Okay. Then it's fine.
So pulling Nginx image from the Docker Hub, for example. Docker. So images. How to check the Docker images, guys? What is the command? How to check the Docker images?
Docker ls.
Docker ls.
No. Second.
Guys, please watch the recording.
Images, correct. Correct.
Okay. How to remove the Docker images?
RMI.
First, we need to check the which one is
Process.
running. PS hyphen is nothing but a process state. Hyphen A is nothing but a. It will show the running and
All the process.
yeah,
Stop the
not
process.
running also. So how to remove the Docker, guys? Docker RM container ID. Okay. Docker RM container ID. These all are the Docker removed. I removed the Docker containers. Docker PS hyphen A. Okay. There is no containers are running. Docker images. These are the Docker images. I want to remove the Docker images. Docker RMI. Docker RMI. My first image. So this is Python full stack app. This is Apache Tomcat. Okay. Yeah, everything is deleted. Docker images. There is no Docker images. What is that? Docker pull Nginx. I'm pulling the Nginx from Docker Hub registry. Docker Hub registry. Docker images. Yeah, this is the Docker image. Docker image. Sorry, shit. Docker images. Okay, so this is the Docker image. So running the Nginx image using the Docker container. How you can run, guys? Docker run, guys. Docker run hyphen hyphen name. I'm giving the name to the container web app one. I'm giving the container. Hyphen D is nothing but a attached mode. Hyphen P is nothing but port 80. Port is 80. This is the first port is the host port. Second port is the container port nginx. Okay. Docker ps hyphen a. Yeah. So this is running. This is the container ID and the created 3 seconds ago. Up the status up 3 seconds ago. Port is this is the host port. Host port is mounted to 8080. So this is the container port. So what is the name of the container? The name of the container is web app one, right? So web app one. Let's check this in the container is running, right? Now let's check it in the now access the static website using EC2 instance public ID, which is hosted by the Nginx, right? Mm, you can check it. Yeah. So this is the one. Let's see, this is the IP address. I thought colon 80. Yeah, Nginx is penned. Nginx is penned. Control C. Let's check it in the incognito mode also. Colon 80. Continue the site. Think IP address is changed. What is the server IP? 7. Okay. 7 is the server IP. Need to connect on. You check it. Mm, Password. MFA. So what is the MFA, guys? MFA is 043028. 043028. Okay, what is the IP address? 7. So this is the IP address 13.203.201.122. 167. This is the only thing. Yeah. So Nginx is right. This is the Nginx. I want to change the index.html. I want to change it to the index.html. How you can change it? You need to go to the container. You need to. So now you are in the EC2 instance. You want to. So you want to go to the container. Docker ps hyphen a. So this is the container ID. How you can log into the container, guys? You can use Docker exec hyphen it. Hyphen it is nothing but an integrated terminal. The web app of one bin bash. What is that? So we need to get the bin bash. Right. Now you are in the container. So where you are? You are in the container. CD usr share nginx html. This is the path, guys. What is the default path for the nginx? cd usr share nginx html. Okay. So vi index.html. So or else you can use echo welcome to Luce Technologies. Welcome to Luce Technologies. Right. Welcome to Blue Jay Technologies. Index.html. Okay. Tag index.html. So welcome to Blue Jay Technologies. It is showing index.html. Yeah. Okay, no worries. So I'm exit from this. Okay. Now, now let's try this. Okay. So welcome to Blue Jay Technologies. Okay. So welcome to Blue Jay Technologies. Next, so access website using EC2VM public IP, which is hosted by the Nginx. Yeah, modified content should be displayed here. Okay. Then what you can do? You can do the Docker stop container ID. So what is the Docker container ID? So this is the container Docker stop container. Okay. Docker ps icon. Yeah. Yeah. So this is not running. It's existed. So next, Docker run hyphen name equal to Docker run hyphen name equal to web app. What is that? Name equal to web app 2. For example, this is hyphen d hyphen p port number 8080. So here I will give 81 port 808 818 nginx docker ps hyphen docker ps hyphen a. Guys, this is running, but this container, whatever we changed the nginx, we changed the that index.html. Is it so? Is it using on this second container? Let's see. No, it is not. It is not shared. It is not shared or it is not used. So the access website using EC2VM public IP, which is hosted by Nginx. Modified content should display here. No, it's not displayed. It is not displayed. So for that purpose, you can create the volume. So that volume, how you can create the volume? So you can create the volume by using which command, guys? Docker Docker volume. Create new wall. What is that, guys? Create a new wall. Docker. How you can check the Docker volume ls? It will display the volumes. Yeah. So we created a one volume. What is that, guys? So we created a one volume. Now start Docker container by mounting Docker volume. I want to mount the Docker volume to the Nginx container. Okay. Docker Docker ps hyphen a. I want to stop this one also. Docker stop Docker stop container. This is the container we can stop. Docker rm docker remove. You guys can remove these two containers. Okay. Volume to container, web to container is running. Stop. Yeah, this is one. Docker. Yes, I put a. It is status support. Docker stop. First, stop. Stop the container. Okay. Next, Docker ps hyphen a Docker rm container id. Docker rm container id. It's remove the Docker. Docker Docker ps hyphen a. Docker ps hyphen a. Okay. So there is no containers are running. Now you already created that volume, right? That volume. So start Docker container by mounting Docker volume. Docker run. What is that? Docker run hyphen d hyphen name equal to hyphen name equal to web app 20. I'm giving the name called as a web app 20 hyphen mount. How you can mount that Docker volume? You can use mount source. Source equal to new volume. What is the source, guys? You created a Docker volume called as a new wall, right? Comma destination. 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 Destination equal to USR share nginx html, right? So this is the default path. So you are whatever the volume you created, right? You are mounting it to this volume. This directory is mounted to this Docker volume. Okay. What is the port number? -p 8080 is the port. Nginx. Okay. Yeah. Docker. Docker ps hyphen a. Now, this Docker run hyphen d name web app. So, what is the mount? Whatever the Docker volume, named volume you created, that named volume, volume one, and mount it to which directory? So, slash usr share nginx html. So, this html is mounted. This directory is mounted to new volume. Okay. So, new volume. If the container is so whatever the index.html, right? You guys can store it in the here. So if the container is deleted, you can create the another container and it will attach it to this container. Is that volume deleted? No, it will not deleted the volume. If the container is deleted, but the volume is not deleted. So whatever the index.html, right? So that index.html is, so here it deleted. So here it deleted. If you create the volume, new volume, it mounted to the, where this is USR share nginx HTML. You shared this mount. You shared that mount. What is that? This volume new underscore wall. New underscore wall is the volume name. So you mounted this to here. Okay. If the so if the Docker container crashes, the index.html. So the index.html will delete. No, it will not delete the index.html. It will not delete the index.html because of you mounted and you created index.html in the new volume. If the container is deleted, the index.html will not delete. So if the container you create another container and whatever the first modified, if you modify the content, so whatever the modified content also will be available in the new volume. So then you can again you can create a new container with a with the attached volume, say volume. So right, this file will not delete. This is nothing but a named volume. I will show you guys. Yeah. So this is running, right? So this is running. Let's check it.
So, bro, I have a question.
Mm, mm, mm.
So here it is like a soft link, right? It is acting like a soft link. So we are
Soft link. Soft link
exactly like
only.
soft link, right?
Soft link. So that USR share NGNX volume is mounting to which
New
volume?
volume, new
New
volume,
volume. What this volume is? This volume is the this volume is
created
the
volume. We created one volume, right? Okay, that is
Docker volume.
named. Oh
So this
yeah,
is the Docker volume. This Docker volume is attached to the this share nginx html in the container. So in the container there is a folder, and that folder is attached to the a Docker volume. Okay. If the container is deleted, the volume is deleted.
no.
No, it will not delete. Okay, I will show you. You will get the clarity now. Okay.
So we are referencing, we are creating a new volume and
Mm.
referencing that new volume to the container.
Yes, container.
Okay.
Okay, this is the welcome to nginx. Now I want to modify the container. Now I want to modify the container. How you can modify it? How you can modify the index.html? Hmm? You need to go log into the container. Okay, you need to log into the container. How you can log in? Docker
Exactly.
exec -it container id. Okay,
Bin bash.
bin bash. You want a bin bash. Now you are in the Docker cd usr share nginx html. Okay, ls index.html. vi is not working. Echo welcome to blue jay technologies. Blue jay technologies. Then index.html. Okay, cat index.html. So welcome to blue jay technologies. Guys understood? Cat index.html. Cat index.html. So welcome to BlueJ Technologies. Okay. Yeah. So now we can check it in the browser. Yeah. So welcome to BlueJ Technologies. Okay. So we are seeing the updated content. If the container crashes, for example, so Docker ps-a Docker Docker stop container id. What is that? So this is the container id. You can stop the container id. Now let's check it if the application is working or not, guys. So for example, this is crashes. So it will not see the website content. It will not see the website. So now what you can do, for example, you can create another container with the same volume. You can create another container with the same volume. How you can? Docker run -d hyphen name equal to web app 21 hyphen mount hyphen web app 20. This is the 20. I'm creating web app 2021 hyphen mount source. So source equal to new volume. What is the volume we created? And the destination equal to and the so destination. So volume destination equal to /usr share nginx and html. So before if you are not creating, but you modified that container, you stopped the container, you are running as another container. the modified content will not show because of, so there is no possibility of sharing the, so here there is no possibility of sharing the that index.html. Now, so you modified the you attached the index.html and you modified the index.html. You stopped the container. Now you create another container with the attached volume. So let's see if the modified content is showing or not. Okay, destination. So invalid argument source new volume for mount invalid file must be key value pair. Docker run hyphen d hyphen name equal to web app 21 hyphen mount source equal to new volume. There is no space. Okay. So mount source equal to new volume destination. So destination equal to USR share nginx HTML.
What is missing?
What missing? You can tell.
Assigning port.
Port and you are not provided the Docker image name, right?
Oh, yeah, correct.
Docker ps hyphen yeah. So this is excited. So this is up and running 3 seconds ago. Let's see if the modified content is showing or not. You see? Now you understood?
Yeah.
Yes, very good. So this is nothing but a which mounting?
Named
By
mode.
named mounting. Now you understood.
Yes.
What is this? So this is the container and this is the container. Okay. So this is the host file. So this is the volume you created. So here you changed the, this is the index.html. Index.html. So here you stop this container. Then you start the container. So this container web app 21. This is the web app 21 container. What this is? This is the container web app 20. So this is the container web app 20. This is the container web app 21. So this is the volume you created. You shared this file. So right, if it is modified, so if you run the new container, so this modified content will be showing. So now you understood the beauty of the named volume. Named volume. The next one is mount bind mounted. So whatever the directory you created, right, that directory will be attached to the container. Attached to the container. That volume is called as a bound mount. The host directory mounting to the container. What is that? The host directory. So this is the host directory mounting to Docker container. So host directory mounting to the Docker container. So what you can do? You can do something like create a directory. So create a directory in the host machine. So what is this? Host directory. Host directory mounting to Docker container. Host directory mounting to Docker container. So before what we discussed the named volume. name volume. So named volume, you understood? So the host directory mounting to the Docker container. So what you can create, how to create directory host mission. So create a directory in the host mission. Okay. mkdir hyphen t slash temp. So where we are creating the slash temp nginx slash html. So we are creating the nginx and html in the slash temp directory. Okay. Next one is run docker run docker container for nginx image with directory directory mounting directory mounting something like a container name. So is something like we can take as a C1 or container 1. Okay, what is this? This is the container 1, C1. Docker run hyphen d hyphen p 80 colon 8080. We are attaching to the 8080 hyphen v volume slash tempo slash nginx slash html. Okay, this volume is mounting to slash usr share nginx html. Guys, understood? So hyphen v this is created in the EC2 instance. This directory is mounting to the inside the container usr share nginx. Nginx. Then hyphen name. What is the name we are providing? Hyphen name C1 container 1 nginx. nginx. Guys, understood? And next, see the containers. See the containers which are running. How you can see the containers which are running? So container 1 should be running. Okay, the container 1 should be running. Okay, what is the command? Docker container ls. What is that, guys? Docker container ls. So here note, for example, access nginx web server using host mission public IP. Access nginx web server. Access nginx web server using host mission public IP address. Okay, public IP address. So go to mount point. Okay, go to mount point. Or you can go to the mount point cd slash tempo nginx slash html. So then create the index.html. What is that? Create a index.html file. What is that? Create index.html file. Create index.html file. The file should be va index.html. So va index.html. Okay. So how to create? So you already know, right? Can check the Duplicate session, root, red hat, sudo su is one EC2 user. Okay, now, so what you can do, mkdir -p / temp nginx / html. Okay, temp nginx html directory is created. So run docker container for nginx image with docker mounting. So container C1. So how you can run? Sorry, first you need to check docker ps icon. So this one is running docker stop. This is starting. Okay, you can remove docker rm. Okay, docker ps icon. Yeah, then nothing. The images containers is not there. So docker run -d-p 8080 colon. This is and -v. What is the directory we created? Temp nginx html colon /usr /share nginx /html. Okay, so this is the bind mountings. So your EC2 instance directory directly attached to the container. So this is nothing but a bind mounting. So hyphen name C1 container 1 nginx docker ps -a. Okay, the container is running. Okay, container is running. Now docker container left. Yes, the counter container is so running 18 seconds ago. Getting the number 18. Okay, so why it is showing? I will show you. CD temp nginx /ht. Okay, here we can create a index.html. So what is that? H html body h1 welcome to UJ Technologies. Welcome to UJ Technologies. H1 close, body close, HTML close. Okay. W. Now you see it, Satish? Now you can see the welcome to UJ Technologies.
Yeah, bro. Yes.
Yes, right? Now you understood the bond
Oh,
mounting. Understood the Docker volumes?
Yeah, bro. Only two, right? One is named and one is bound.
Anonymous is there, but that is not using. Okay.
Yeah.
Next. So interview question. How can I how can I mount my host mission directory to the Docker container? How can I mount my host mission directly to the Docker container? In which volume? In which volume concept we can mount it? A
Mount
host mission direct. We have a three named
mount
and
bind mount.
very good. Answer is bind mount concept. Okay. So by using bind mount concept, so we can mount the host mission directly to the Docker container. Is understood?
Yeah,
Now
bro.
you got it right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
in the named mount we are referencing
Hmm.
in the bind mount we are really binding
Three.
host.
Yes. That is the Docker volumes. You need to create the Docker volume, right?
Yes,
I
yes.
don't want to create the Docker volume. Whatever the directory I have in the my
Host.
EC2 instance host mission, that directory will directly mount it to the Docker container.
ఇది నాకేమనిపిస్తుంది అంటే బ్రో ఈ కాన్సెప్ట్ కొంచెం సాఫ్ట్ లింక్ హార్డ్ లింక్ లాగా ఉంది కదా.
అవునవును. అలానే ఉంటది. కానీ అదే ఇప్పుడు మనకి డోకర్ వాల్యూమ్ ఒకవేళ డోకర్ కంటైనర్ ఒకవేళ క్రాష్ అయినా గానీ మనకు వాల్యూమ్ అనేది ఏంటిది? మన డేటా అనేది ఏమవుతది? లూజ్ అవుతదా? విల్ నాట్
అవును.
లాస్ ద డేటా.
కాకపోతే కాకపోతే
హ్మ్.
ఇక్కడ కాకపోతే ఏంటంటే మన
హ్మ్.
నేమ్డ్ బైండ్ లో
హ్మ్.
ఓన్లీ రిఫరెన్స్ మాత్రమే హోస్ట్ లెవెల్లో ఉంది.
అవును.
కాకపోతే బైండ్ మౌంట్ లో యాక్చువల్ డైరెక్టరీ వచ్చి హోస్ట్ పాయింట్ లో ఉంది, అంతే డిఫరెన్స్.
అవునవును. ఓచ్ పాయింట్‌లో ఉంది. అంతే డిఫరెన్స్. కానీ
వాట్
ఇక్కడ మామూలుగా మన కంటైనర్ ఎంతుంటది?
స్మాల్ సైజ్ కదా.
స్మాల్ సైజ్. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ నీ అప్లికేషన్‌కి ఒక 4 కంటైనర్స్ రన్ అవుతుంది.
ఓకే, ఓకే. ఇన్స్టెడ్ ఆఫ్ గివింగ్ వాల్యూమ్ వాల్యూమ్ టు ద
యెస్. వెరీ,
కంటైనర్
వెరీ
అండ్
గుడ్. వెరీ గుడ్. ఇది వాల్యూమ్. ఓకేనా?
యా.
సో, ఈ వాల్యూమ్‌లో ఏమున్నాయంటే నీ లాగ్స్ ఉన్నాయి. ఏమున్నాయి? యాప్ లాగ్స్ అనేవి ఉన్నాయి. ఓకే. సో, ఇది ఎంతైనా ఉండొచ్చు. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ 500 జీబీయా? ఓకేనా? ఇది ఎంతైనా ఉండొచ్చు. నువ్వు ఏదైతే లాగ్స్ రాస్తున్నావో ఎక్కడ పడుతున్నాయి ఎళ్లి?
యాప్లాక్స్ లో
అప్పుడు నీకు కంటైనర్‌కి వాల్యూమ్ అవసరమా?
నో నీడ్. యా. ఈవెన్ దో ద
హ్మ్.
కంటైనర్ డైస్ అండ్ న్యూ కంటైనర్
ఆ!
క్రియేట్స్
ఆ! ఇఫ్ ఇది ఒకవేళ పోయినా గాని
వాల్యూమ్
ఈ
ఉంటుంది.
వాల్యూమ్ అనేది డేటా అనేది విల్ నాట్ లాస్ ద డేటా.
ఓకే, గాట్ ఇట్ బ్రో.
అండర్‌స్టూడా?
యా, యా.
హ్మ్.
సేమ్ ఇదే
సో,
కాన్సెప్ట్ కుబర్నెటిసా?
ఇదే కాన్సెప్ట్ అంటే ఇలానే ఉంటది.
క్లోజ్ నియర్లీ.
క్లోజ్ టు. ఎందుకంటే ఇది తెలిసి ఇప్పుడు నీకు ఇది తెలిసిందనుకో ఓహో! డోకర్ కంటైనర్ ఒక వాల్యూమ్‌ని ఇలా క్రియేట్ చేసుకొని ఇలా అటాచ్ చేసుకుంటదా? సో, నీకిప్పుడు అర్థమైంది.
యా,
ఓకే.
యా బ్రో. యా.
యాహ్! యాహ్! సో, విల్ కంటిన్యూ ఫ్రమ్ టుమారో గైస్. ఓకే.
ఏం కాన్సెప్ట్ బ్రో టుమారో?
టుమారో జస్ట్ డోకర్ సాము అంటే ఏంటి అని వదిలేసి రేపటి నుంచి ఇంక కుబర్నెటిసే. ఓకే.
ఓకే బ్రో.
జస్ట్ డోక్ హ్మ్. సో, ఫ్రమ్ టుమారో ఆన్వర్డ్స్ వి విల్ షో ద డోకర్ కంటైనర్. హ్మ్.
ఓకే, డాకర్ స్వామి నెక్స్ట్ కుబర్నెటిస్. ఓకే.
హ్మ్. 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 సో, డోకర్ సామ్‌లో ఏం లేదు. డోకర్ సామ్ అనేది డోకరోడు కనిపెట్టిండు. ఏంటిది? డోకర్ సామ్ అనేది కంటైనర్ ఆర్కెస్ట్రేషన్. ఇక్కడ మనకి ఎవరైనా ఆర్కెస్ట్రేట్ చేస్తున్నారా? ఎవరు చేయట్లే. ఒకవేళ చనిపోయినా గాని తెలుస్తుందా మనకి డోకరు? తెలియట్లా. ఆటో హీలింగ్ ఉందా? ఆటో స్కేలింగ్ ఉందా? ఇక్కడ ఏమీ లేదు. బట్ ఇవన్నీ ఫుల్‌ఫిల్ చేయాలంటే ఏదో ఒక కావాలి. అది ఎవరు డెవలప్ చేశారు ఫస్టు? డోకరోడు డోకర్ సామ్ ద్వారా ఇయన్నీ కంటైనర్ ఆర్కెస్ట్రేషన్ క్రియేట్ చేసిండు. బట్ సమ్ ఎక్స్‌టెంట్ లెవెల్ దట్ విల్ ఫెయిల్స్. After that, it will fails. Okay, some extent level it will success. After that, it will fails. So that's the reason Google company. Which company? Google company created the Kubernetes. Okay, Google company created the Kubernetes, and it is this is donated to which company?
CNCF. CNCF.
Very good. Yes, yeah, very good. CNCF, Cloud Native and Cloud Foundation. If you want to write the Kubernetes certification, so from this company also we need to get the certification. AWS మనం ఎలా AWS నుంచి తెస్తామో సో క్యూబర్నెటీస్ ఓనర్ ఎవరంటే సిఎన్సిఎఫ్.
ఇప్పుడు ఓకే.
ఓకేనా?
యా
సూపర్. సో ఇప్పుడు అర్థమైందా? డోకర్ కొంచెం బాగా అర్థమైందా?
యా యా యా
ఓకే, వెరీ గుడ్. సో విల్ కంటిన్యూ ఫ్రమ్ టుమారో దట్ క్యూబర్నెటీస్.
షూర్ బ్రో, థ్యాంక్ యూ.
రేపటి నుంచి చాలా మంచి కాన్సెప్ట్. ఓకే,
యా బ్రో, కుబర్నెటిస్ నేను అది సర్టిఫికేషన్ చేస్తాను కాబట్టి మనం సర్టిఫికేషన్కి ఎంత వరకు అయితే అవసరమో
అవన్నీ
ప్లస్
నేర్చుకోండి.
ఆ క్యూబర్నెటిస్ లో మీ కంపెనీలో వాడుతున్న రియల్ టైమ్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్స్ కూడా చెప్పండి బ్రో, ఎందుకంటే
చెప్తాను, అవి చెప్పిస్తాను. నా ఫైల్స్ కూడా చూపిస్తాను. ఓకే,
యా యా ఈ డెవాప్స్ మొత్తంలో హెవీ ప్లస్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ క్యూబర్నెటిస్ కదా.
అంటే అంటే నీకు ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఒక కంపెనీలో నువ్వు వెళ్తే నీకు ఓన్లీ టెరాఫామ్ ఇవ్వచ్చు. ఒక కంపెనీలోకి వెళ్తే నువ్వు వెళ్తే యాన్సిబుల్ ఇవ్వచ్చు. ఒక కంపెనీకి వెళ్తే జెన్కిన్స్ ఇవ్వచ్చు. సో ఒక కంపెనీకి వెళ్తే అన్నీ ఉండొచ్చు, లేదా పర్టికులర్ గా క్యూబర్నెటీసే ఉండొచ్చు.
ఓకే
అదైందా? సో
ఓకే
బేస్డ్
బ్రో.
ఆన్ ద కంపెనీ ఇట్ వ్యారీస్ ఫ్రమ్ కంపెనీ టు కంపెనీ.
ఓకే
ఓకే, అంటే నీకు అలా ఇస్తారు అని ఏం లేదు. బట్ సో ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ ఏ డెవాప్స్ గా యూ నీడ్ టు లెర్న్ ఆల్ దీస్ టూల్స్. నీకు
ఓకే
ఏది ఇచ్చినా గానీ వర్క్ అయ్యేటట్టు ఉండాలి. ఆర్ ఎల్స్ ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు గివ్ ఆల్ దీస్, సో యు ఆర్ జాయిన్డ్ యాజ్ ఏ స్టార్ట్అప్ కంపెనీ, యూ వాంట్ టు బిల్డ్ ఫ్రమ్ స్క్రాచ్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఇన్ఫ్రా, the deployments, and the Kubernetes, everything you will be created. So how you can create it? You want to create a CI/CD, entire CI/CD from scratch. Okay, now.
రిగార్డ్ ఇట్. యా
Okay, thank you.
ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ.